there other questions?
Yeah, what about that fountain? What's going on with the fountain that has to be bumped up there?
We've got that budgeted to be repaired. It needs a new pump. It's $4,000.
You've been
Oh,
telling me
it's
that a lot,
$4,000.
Kimberly.
Got
You know
multiple
that I've
bids.
been complaining about that.
Okay,
I
what-
like that font to be clean.
It's-
I don't want flowers outside the fount, when the fount is full of dirty water. It's filthy. It's horrible.
We drain it and clean it, but again, that takes, it takes time and to do that, and we do it multiple times.
What
To get it cleaned
brand,
up.
what brand pump is it?
I don't know the details, the specs on it. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the specs on
Okay,
it.
because
Yeah.
4,000.
I've got multiple bids, okay? And it's not just, it's the entire pump. I think it's a 3.5 horsepower, off the top of my head.
How many BPM?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, but sell 4,000 for a pump, I don't care.
It's
what.
the entire,
Is there there you can put one on the station?
Okay, here's the thing, we're not here to argue about it, we're letting you know what it is. We haven't spent the money, but Ken, if you wanna talk to her about the details of it after, that's
Send me
fine.
a copy of the quotes if you would, because I do have experience in the fountain pumps, and I know what they cost, and I know where to get them.
it's, they were between 3,500 and 3,700, not to cut you off, I apologize.
Yeah, so just send me a copy of that, you have my email.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is, if we've got all these plumbing leaks and roof leaks, why do we need, I mean, it's pretty for that, for $5,000, wouldn't it be better to put that on getting some of this other stuff fixed that needs to be done instead of
Yeah.
all the nice flowers?
Yeah, this goes back to the priority. You're talking,
Excuse me,
okay, no, but you didn't answer your question before about the priority.
I was trying to let him finish.
No, I was talking about the priorities. You said you had priorities as far as that, about the plumbing, because he brought up the plumbing, and then you said, well, we have other priorities. So what are these priorities?
Priorities for operating, and there's priorities for, the capital improvements.
Right.
And the capital improvements are the retaining wall, the roofs, and plumbing.
So you think the retaining wall was more important than plumbing? Is that correct? So this, okay, we haven't used the pool, so we haven't used the pool for like, what, 9 months? Yet people have plumbing leaking over their heads, causing mold and destroying actually the common elements, but that's not a priority, but that is. If nobody's using it anyway. That could collapse tomorrow and nobody would
Excuse me.
notice.
You
But
don't
but-
even let me answer the question.
No, okay, answer the question.
You don't have to, I know, and technically as a non-owner, you really shouldn't be speaking, but. I'm
He
allowed
speak
to.
on my behalf, and I sign papers for
I
it.
got power of attorney
Then
to
I should
speak
say
to.
that to the husband, one of the owners.
And he has the power of attorney.
Yeah, we signed a power of attorney for me to speak, so let's move on.
Oh, you can talk to because you're the husband.
You shouldn't be upset talking about that, since such a big project.
Okay, let's calm down. We want to know the answer, that's all. We want to get things done here. So let's, what is the answer for that one from the plumbing? And I say that because we had numerous plumbing problems from other people, us, everywhere. And I hear stories of what people are going through, and it's horrid. I mean, between that and the roof leaks, I just want to know why. I mean, and I'm saying from the standpoint of just because
Well, when we
people are
talk about
suffering
the
from that.
retaining wall in a minute, I just would like to get
Okay.
through the budget,
Yeah, sure.
if we can get through that.
Okay.
We did put some things into the operating budget that are just part of what would normally be those operating type items. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna start doing them. We've held on a lot of these, $4,000 on a pump that maybe not everybody thinks is necessary. I can understand that. I'm trying to make the best business decisions possible. Not everybody's gonna agree with what my decisions are, but I'm really trying to look at the overall of the entire community. But back to questions on the budget, but we can get to the other things at the other meeting.
Okay.
And the other thing is, if you say in a report I read in the court, you say you very good and rent and make a lot of money, $1 million, blah, blah, blah. What if here is no, in the input, the rent? Because you're supposed to make like 100,000 according with the paper in the court, $100,000 in rent. What is no in the income?
Actually, that is a great question. The units that the association either holds title to or has the ability to rent, which are only 6 units at this point, all of those accounts have balances. So we, in the order, creating the rental program, it's literally written within the order that the rents that are collected are put toward the past due balances. Until such time as they get to a 0 balance. When the homeowner, balance gets to 0, then we would show it as rental income. So as of right now, those units have not come to a 0 balance, which is why it doesn't show up as rental income, and you don't have to pay income tax on it, because basically you're just paying down a past due debt that each owner had.
Do you have this property for years, and you have property for 6, 7, 8 years, because one go and tax the sale, and you stop the sale, stop the foreclosure, so it's supposed to, this property you have for 8 years, and continue this property, owe money to the.
I don't know if those 6 are ones that we've had for 8 years, I'm not sure, but I can tell you that every month that just like any of you, these units are not, in any way waived. Until the balance gets to 0, there's a late fee and there's interest that's charged. And when you have high balances, which I'm pretty sure all 6 of them have, the interest that's charged and the late fee together equal almost the association fee. So even though we are bringing in a decent rental amount, it really takes a long time to try and get that balance down.
So this property not make any income now for the association, not make money.
Well, no, you make money because it brings down the amount of past due balance.
And the other question is, what is the reason the owner received this letter? You don't put in here in the letter, the association for 2019 is being increment 6%. What is known in the letter you sent? What you know
I
how
didn't
to
put
the
that letter together. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, and if you send, budget,
It's a standard notice.
you know, in the.
Oh, it's a standard notice. Yeah, it's just a
Who
standard
puts that
notice.
together then?
The management company. The standard notice that they send out.
So you don't need advice,
I'm sorry?
you don't need advice to the owners that if you increment the association 6%? No?
Well, I think that
You don't need advice to the owner when you send the letter for the budget. You don't need say the budget is increment or no?
There's a lot of people that can't read a balance sheet, can't read an income statement, but they know how much they have to pay a month. And when they get a notice, if it tells them, oh, you're, right up front, we're not increasing the association dues, that should be a given that you should put that in the cover letter. If it's gonna go up 2%, that should be in the front of the
I'll take
cover
that under
letter.
advisement for next year, but it was just a standard notice.
You know.
What about the legal fees? AK bump up on, 8,000 bump up, which is
What
29%
about
on that. 26,934,900, which is a $8,000 increase, which is 29%. A little above inflation there.
What item is that?
That's,
8,100.
that's 8,100.
Kind of
What
few
about
before
it?
that.
He said it
What was
was
the
8,000,
question?
it's gone to 8,000.
Okay. We collected a lot of legal fees last year, but we still had a lot of legal that went out, so I did do a percentage increase on the legal because I anticipated that it would go up.
So why do you anticipate that would go up? Why do you anticipate it would go up from
Because
standpoint?
there's lawsuits and different things going on.
What lawsuits?
I'm sorry?
What lawsuits? You said there's lawsuits. What lawsuits are going on?
Well, there had been the one about the interveners, and
This is
now,
That's not a lawsuit. What lawsuits are going on? The interveners is not a lawsuit.
okay, well, that's what I was referring to. There is no
Okay.
other type
Okay,
of secondary lawsuit.
So then what you're saying is the increase is to keep the board of directors from becoming
No,
the
that's
management.
not what I'm saying.
No, that's just what you just said.
No, that's
It was for
not
the
what you're
interveners.
saying, that's not what I said.
Okay.
Now, that increase in legal fees, does that also correspondingly bump up, 8 in the line item 8060, which is copy and printing supplies.
I'm really sorry, but I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, so, copies and printing supplies, 1,400 to 2,800. Does that coincide with the increase in legal fees, or why, that's kind of a big jump up in copy and printing supplies. I mean, what's that all about?
It had to do with year-to-date,
Had to do with what,
year-to-date, year-to-date.
Here again, if we had year-to-date information, we wouldn't be asking so many questions.
Yeah, it had to do with you today.
I have a question. Regarding the gates. The gates are my least favorite part of the property. I know you discussed like some kind of something going under the pavement to increase it. Is that what the increase is? Cause it goes from 3,000 to 11,000. The gates are always broken. Always. Or if guests are trying to buzz in, I try to answer and I constantly hit 9, it doesn't buzz. And sometimes I get locked out of my own gate because it's not reading the things on the cars. So I don't know like what is happening with the gates to make it better. It's very frustrating.
Well, that 1 month it was open is because what we talked about, the transponder, it was hardwired in.
Right.
There should be an issue now. The issue is the biggest issue right now is 139, people that live here still have not bought transponders. That's why people that have transponders are not able to get in, is because they go up to the gate and somebody's on the phone that is a resident that lives here and has not bought the transponder. Okay? So that delays the person that has a transponder from getting in because they conflict with each other. Because owners can get their first transponder at no charge, but their tenants have to pay, unless they choose to not get that transponder. We didn't put that out to the people who live here out in the open, because we didn't want the tenants to call and drive their property managers and their owners crazy, at first, so, which was something we talked about. But it's taken them over 6 months to come in to get their transponders. And so we're gonna be sending out another letter to have them, we narrowed it down to 141 people who have to come in. Some of them may be in this room or not, I'm not gonna say anything. Had not come in to get their transponders, but in their defense, they didn't know that they could get one with no charge, if that makes any sense.
I got mine last week.
Yeah, so, anyway, but you can get one at no charge. Anyway, so that's part of that's backing people up and is causing them more of an issue, which will help get those people in, will help your issues.
Well, what I mean is sometimes, because it's almost even to be helpful, there's just actually a real person there, like signing people in, because there's been times, I think like last week, like my vehicle was like up at the gate.
I agree.
And then people are honking and like up at the gate and it's not opening, and it's like, and then maybe someone happens to dial in and then everyone's like zooming in behind each other to make sure they get in the gate. So I don't know if that's happening, I don't know if that's like part of like, what is the repairs on here?
Those are based on the actuals again, and the cost of, now this is a pass-through, the transponders cost, and then what we charge. It's the pass-through is also gonna be in that. Is that the same line? What line item were you talking about?
There's gate cards are both just
Okay.
605, and the
Okay.
repairs are below, and then the gate.
You were talking about repairs. I apologize. Different one, so I apologize for that. Yeah, based on the repairs from last year compared to this year, again, basing on the actuals, I know you can't see it. I'll make it where it's on for next year. But that's what that's based on. Okay, we anticipate not having as many repairs, but just to be, I've got to base it on actuals. So that's why it's there.
Okay.
Yes, Mark.
While you're talking about the gate, you have gate cards. Wait a minute, where did I see this? Hang on. Yeah, I know, I had it in my,
That's right.
$1,500. But you charge the owners and the tenants, how much for a card or a pass? It's $35 or whatever?
It's $35, but now, since we changed the system, the owners are 30, no cost for the first one.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm not talking about the owners, you have more tenants here than you do owners.
You said owners,
Okay,
so that's
so,
what.
whatever.
Okay.
$1,500 for the, you call it gate card, so it's
Right.
the pad, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
How much are they? And so, let's say it's $1,500 cost, but you're charging the tenants for one, so where's the income for that? That should offset it.
It's,
Or is that another thing that Century Management pays?
no, it's actually not noted, it's a 4193 up at the top, there's two different ones. There's 4193 and 4197, there is nothing there, because with this new system, and we don't usually note anything in the income anyway.
Because
Well, if
it's
you
not
show it as an expense.
It's not a guarantee.
If you show it as an expense, you should show an income for it, because it's not a real expense. Because it's an expense based off of the money you're generating by selling the pieces.
But we don't know how many we're gonna be selling, so that's why I didn't have it as.
Yeah, but you can assume one per unit. That's a very easy assumption, right? And at
I
35,
mean, we've gone this many months and.
okay, $35 per unit, and you have 345 units
I
here.
don't wanna base income on something that I haven't
Late
collected.
fees and interest too? Because of-
We don't,
No,
that,
no, this
again,
is just
income is not,
the gate.
Oh,
yeah, but there's
So
no
if you've
income
got
we
this
ever
expense item,
do.
They
We
should
never
show
do
the
income.
income for it, but they're not. And it'd be very easy to show the income based on just one. If you go over budget on revenue, great, that's not a bad problem. But you're gonna be able to sell at least one, so then you offset that cost. Because the cost, what you're charging for it is a lot more than what the actual cost of the sticker is.
Okay.
Um, I know the cards, most of the places charge $35 or $50 for the card.
Right.
But when you buy the cards, they're $2 each. So
Right, I
there's a
just
huge
bought some.
margin there.
Yeah,
And the association gets to, take advantage of that.
and on our budgets, we never put income for anything, so.
Okay, well, it should, because you have a cost with it. Just like if you had a cost for, buying supplies and selling them, you have a cost for it, you should show the revenue, right? Because it's not a cost of operating the association, it's a cost of that revenue that you have there.
Is there any other questions?
Right.
Yes, Mary?
Yes, please. I would like to know, we are spending a lot of money in those gates for month and month and month. Things they put a new gate. I prefer the old gate. What is the reason that they send me a letter and they are so protected and everybody has been watching and nobody could be tell another person. I don't have a car, I don't have problem with that. But I would like to know why they send me a letter, they are breaking in apartments now. How? What happened? Who is protecting us? If the gate is protecting us, and we have a security, why, how many breakers are in the apartment now recently? Because it's alarming everybody.
But on the other hand, if we don't let people know that there had been some incidents here, I think that we would have, that's a problem as well. I think that anytime this part of the year, the holidays, the increase in break-ins generally increases all over the place. You see it on the news. I mean, it's not unusual, unfortunately. But the thing is that I can't tell you that the gate would protect you. I can't tell you that anything is supposed to reduce the people who don't belong here from entering the community. But statistics show that many times break-ins happen from people who live within
They
your
live in and they promise.
Which is
That's
why-
where the point I'm getting into it. It's not the people that coming in, it's the people they are renting here, people indecent. Now they are robbing our building, and that's not nice. And there are people that live here. Hey, the owner we have to be protected too.
And
And
we
that's terrible.
encouraged all the people to, file police reports. Unfortunately, that's kind of, people being aware, people, letting the police know if they see something that, doesn't look right. I mean, those are the things that we, everyone needs help in, whether, it's in this kind of community or another community. I mean, people saying something and reporting it to, the police is really what, the help is that we need.
that we sent the notice out about, that we know of, that were the same type of what occurred. They,
What happened? I haven't seen any.
they broke the window
It's during the day.
during the day. They broke the window, put their hand through, lifted up the window and went in, is what they did. On the first floor back of the buildings,
Only first floor.
only first floor.
So we feel like, obviously, the police feel like it's, a crime of convenience.
Yeah, you can pull that up on websites and all, your
Yeah.
local websites.
Yeah, I just hadn't heard about it until recently.
Yeah.
And while we're still on the budget real quick, tennis court maintenance, I don't see anybody using the tennis court, at 17,500. You can take that and move it to something else that you need to get fixed, the plumbing, the roofing, whatever. Same with the tot lot, 14,500.
What kind of maintenance is on the tennis court? Because I go there every day, I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
She said, what kind of maintenance is on the tennis court? Okay, let me start here and go, it'll kind of work out together. Okay, when, let me say the word, the retaining wall.
Right.
The reason we put that on there is because it goes together, okay? Because the tennis court is actually sloping back in the back, okay, because of the retaining wall. And they've gotta go through the playground area, which the playground equipment is needed to be redone for a while, okay? We actually budgeted for it a couple of years ago to be redone. We held off because of the way they need to go in to do the retaining wall is to go through the tennis court area to access the retaining wall, okay? So they'd be taking out that
So they
equipment.
need to go around both sides or one side? Because you just said that the.
Well,
No,
this is
no, no.
broken, this is falling.
Yeah.
I understand that, I understand that, I'm trying
That
to
there need to
understand.
be repairs done to the tennis court and it'd be resurfaced, that's need to be done for a while. And the fencing around needs to be redone already, that need to be done already. And so did the top lot. So those two things we've held off on, okay?
And you have a
So-
quote for the tennis court repairs, right?
Yes, I've got multiple quotes for it, okay? So they take the playground equipment out, and again, I'm going to retaining wall, but take the playground equipment out, and they have to pull the equipment in to access this end of it, retaining wall.
So
Which-
that's why we.
That's why, that's why.
It's not gonna, that
Okay.
money's
No,
not
that's
gonna be
good.
touched until,
Yeah.
unless we use it.
So instead of just the retaining wall cost, if you do the replacement, you've got a 17,500 plus a $14,500 cost that you normally would not need, except for the fact that
Actually,
you have
that's
to go
incorrect,
through
she just stated to you that we have planned to do more with the tennis court and the tot lot in previous years. So this is not a new cost because of the retaining wall, it was a cost that needed to be done regardless.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's why I'm asking questions, so I can understand each line item here,
Okay.
because nothing's been done, so.
Right, we're holding on it.
Now, on the reserves, you have some negatives on the fund balance, and it looks like a loan was taken from the reserves to the operating account. When was that done? Wait a minute, let me find that. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Due from operating to reserve, $118,900. What was the reason for taking from the reserve, and what was that money was spent for?
It's in the reserves, it's a combination of things, it's probably there was one roof done,
No, wait, no, it's
Yes.
a loan from the reserves
mhm.
to the operating account. That's what that is. I'm very familiar with balance sheets. That is a loan that somebody took from the savings account to repair the roofs, to repair the plumbing, et cetera, for $18,000. Took it out of the reserve account and loaned it to the operating account. What was that money used for?
What month is that? Yeah, that I know.
It's in your annual report, and then if you also look, you have some negative numbers on the fund balances. But on your annual, or your monthly report that you put in, and actually, I think you even discuss it, hang on a second.
Oh, that's are you talking about the
Due
due
to-
to from the
Yeah, he's
operating
talking
to the
about due
reserve?
to.
Yeah,
We
due
were-
from operating to reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So that's a loan.
That's not a
No,
loan.
it's not a loan.
That's not a loan.
We
Okay,
just
so what
didn't
is it?
fund the
We fund the
reserves.
reserves.
I'm sorry?
We didn't fund the reserves for that amount this year.
So you haven't, so you have $118,000 you have not funded the reserves this year.
Right, because we didn't have enough money in the operating account to do so. Yeah,
If you spend one thing, the $40,000 what you don't need, if you
The
put
gate.
money in the reserve, when you need a house.
Reserves are state law, you have to fund that. You keep saying that every time in court. Reserves have to be funded.
That is the reason
So
you
how many
can't-
months have you been back? How many months is that?
well, we have funded when we could. We just haven't funded, so some months we funded
How
part.
many months are you behind on funding the reserves? You're at the end of the year now. Is it, how many months, well, I should be able to see it off the numbers here.
You're asking a question that cannot be answered in the way that you are asking the
Oh,
question.
yes, it can.
Actually,
because-
it can't if you would allow me to finish.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. So, in the month of January, I don't believe that we funded the reserves at all. But then during the last 11 months of the year, there have been times where we had what we felt like was plenty of money in operate to go ahead and fund the reserves. And so then we would take maybe 50% of funding of the reserves. But because of the fact that we didn't have enough money in operating was why we didn't fund the reserves. We had to make sure that, you know, the different things that were happening, the water bill, the electric bill, all the different bills that come up, the insurance, were all being paid. So for me to say to you that I haven't funded for 7 months, it's not exactly accurate because I funded some of the accounts as I could that we had money for.
Okay, if I round this off, you're taking $4,620 a month to fund the reserves, right? And I don't have my calculator in front of me, but if you take $118,000 and divide it by 4,600, that's how many months you're behind.
Okay, well, we're behind 118,000, that's what it is, whether that's months or not.
108, somebody have a calculator real
Yeah,
quick?
180,000 by?
118,000
By?
divided by 4,620.
25.5.
That's not correct.
25 months, that's 2 years behind.
That's not correct.
That's not correct.
I'm just going off of your numbers. And I'm going off of what you just told us. In your report that you put into the court,
Okay, every
Okay.
month, what we put away for reserves is supposed to be $22,083.33. And that's how we got to
22,000.
118.
wait a minute, 22,000 what?
$83.
$83.33.
Where do I see that? I don't see that here. Okay, it's 22 what? I'm sorry.
083.33.
Okay, so take that number again.
So it's
118,000.
5.5 months, 5.3 months.
So you're half a year behind. Okay, that answers your question. on
Yeah.
that.
Did anyone else have a question?
Just a
Yes.
clarification, Pamela, you mentioned about the insurance increases, it's about a $45,000 increase.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that a lot of it was due to the effects, the ripple effects of the hurricanes.
Yes.
Is that a number, a hard number that the insurance provider provided us, this number must increase by this, or did we get quotes on that?
Well, basically what happens is, I didn't get other quotes, because a lot of times, my understanding of how it works, I work with, a particular agent, you could have 3 agents, they could all get about the same quotes, because they're gonna get them from the same carrier, so the price you get is really based upon, I don't wanna say this, like whether or not they're charging you an extra percentage. I have found that our current agent does a really good job to keep those fees as low as possible. The other thing that will help insurance over time is, you know, the replacement of the roofs. So we do always let them know as soon as we have, our roof replacement. Did anyone else have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Kurt, Mosaic and Sunset, they have the same agent. Have y'all been quoted that much of an increase? I haven't heard anything.
Well, really, because I talked to Nagar about that, and she said that you were,
No,
and that you guys decided not to do the increase anyway.
increase what?
Not 20%.
Yes, because she sent out the same email, her and Phil, to everyone.
I don't receive any email, she said she incremented anything.
Okay. All right, well, that's what I based it
I'll
on.
talk to her, but yeah, I
Okay.
haven't heard anything about that.
Okay.
And I do know that here, until you get all of the roofs fixed, your insurance is still gonna be high. It's gonna cut down every time you do a roof.
That's what I just said, so every time that we can do a roof, it does
It
improve
cuts
the
it down a
insurance.
little bit.
A little bit, right, exactly.
We're very high here for insurance
Right,
compared to
and,
other
you know,
properties.
hopefully we won't have the need for the 20%, but our insurance renews in February, so, February, right?
Mhm.
So we have the whole year. I mean, I was going to reduce the number if we had like an August renewal, like, oh, we'll just stay on that same rate that we already have. But because we renew in February, we just wanna make sure that we had enough money put away for that.
What is the insurance give for the Hurricane Irma? You receive any money for the insurance for repair? And
No.
when you make a claim? for-
Did y'all even make a claim?
No, there wasn't enough.
There wasn't, based upon the parameters of what the insurance is, there wasn't a claim to be made. But
Why not?
we did review it and discuss it with, the agent, everything that we had to have done.
Okay, because right after the hurricane, I came through here, there was a lot of trees down. I know it doesn't cover a lot for the trees, cause the
I
small.
don't believe it covers anything.
Well, I don't know about your insurance, but on our other properties, it covers a small amount for the trees, so you get a little bit to cover that.
Right, we
But-
reviewed
but on
all
the-
of that,
okay,
I'm
I'm
trying to do
just-
anything that I
Okay.
can.
But on the roofs, I know I came here and there was roof panels all over the place. Now, whether or not the insurance company would replace the whole roof,
Right,
you should file the claim, because if they come through and you have most of them's $5,000 deductible,
right.
you do a claim, and if it's $4,000 worth of damage, okay, yeah, you gotta eat that cost, but it's written down, it's
We did review
documented,
and
so the
research.
next year, or within 12 months, if you have another hurricane, other
Correct.
damage, your
That's
deductible went from 5,000 to 1,000.
Right,
So why didn't we file a claim to get somebody, an adjuster out here to, cause I can almost guarantee you've got at least a couple of roofs out of it.
We reviewed and researched it, and we
But-
were not given anything.
You researched it, but did you file a claim to have an adjuster come out on the property?
Not to my knowledge, no, because the amount of money that it took for any of those repairs was always under, we had given the information to her, and all of the repairs that we had to do were less than what the deductible was.
Exactly, but if you'd have filed a claim and you had that same item get damaged again, your
I'll double
deductible,
check.
your deductible would have already been reduced.
Right,
So let's say it's $5,000 and you had to pay $2,500, the next time you have an accident, your deductible just went from $5,000 to $2,500.
Point is, in 2004, we had 3 hurricanes within 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
well, right, when we had in 2004.
Yeah, but I'm saying they could have.
But that's why you do
That's
that.
the point.
No, I understand, and we have it on our own spreadsheet for which buildings and how much was, what the expense was for those repairs, so we have it if we have another, catastrophic event.
Well, I can give you an example on another condominium complex where we had the adjuster come out, and at first it looked like it wasn't much damage, but the adjuster come out, in fact, I even told him, I said, I don't think you're gonna get much out of it. But out of 18 buildings, the adjuster said, I can replace 5, but I'm not replacing the other. But the minute we got some professionals on the site, they said, oh no, you need all of them done. We had to fight, it took us 6 months to do it, but we got every single building covered when the adjuster when, number one, I didn't think we'd get anything up front, but because we filed the claim, we got an adjuster said 5 buildings, so then we had an engineering company come out after all the roofing companies said, no, you should be able to get all of them. We got every single roof redone, $1,200,000. The out-of-pocket cost for the association was, $150 or something like that. So it could have been a possibility to be able to get these roofs redone that, still need to be redone,
They
or
have
at
a
least
big
some of
tree
them.
in the back, remember, I had a picture.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so y'all did not file a claim at all?
I will have to double
No,
check.
we did not, it was $15,000 to $20,000 for each building, is the
Yeah, it doesn't make
deductible.
a difference.
I'm just saying that was the
Yeah.
deductible, that's why the decision was made. There's
I
no-
understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but if you file a claim, you get it started,
Yeah.
and you can go from there. But
Right.
because you didn't file a claim, all that's washed away, and you might have been able to get a couple of buildings.
Maybe the difference is because it's a receiver, it's not for the
No,
director.
there was only 3 roof leaks from that, so.
Roof leaks
anyway,
don't matter. Roof leaks don't matter.
That's all,
If you ever get into roofing, and you understand the details, there's a lot of things that can go wrong on a roof. The shingles, not the ones here, but the ones that, what they call the asphalt shingles, they can look perfectly great, but if they got blew up a little
Right.
bit and lost the seal, it's gone. And even if it's just a few, once you get a few done, the rest of them are bad. So you get the whole roof. And here, I know there was a lot, we had a roof leak on the back on, I think, one of our units. And there was shingles all over the place.
We don't-
I
we
mean,
need
it wasn't a
tiles.
massive,
yeah.
I'm
We need
sorry?
tiles?
The tiles, yeah,
Yeah, because we don't have shingles.
yeah, well,
All
I
right.
know what you're saying.
but yeah, that's what I'm trying to bring a point. It should have been,
I wish
At
we would've
least
brought it up a year ago.
file.
I mean, I don't know, it's been over a year, but I understand what you're saying.
yeah, I can say you might not get it now, but
It
it's
might be
something.
worth it.
It's worth it to file a claim, get it on there. I mean, you're already a year past now, so you've lost the deductible part. But maybe you got a roof that could get, replaced by the insurance company claiming it was damaged from the hurricane last year.
Okay, thank you.
So that's worth what, $85,000, $90,000 per building?
Or more.
How many roofs are yet to be done? How many buildings are yet to be done? 6? Okay.
So we're getting there, we're closer.
Closer.
And we have one, hopefully, by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just say, just one last question, I still kind of confused because I didn't really get an answer on the legal service, because you have $24,000 for your receiver legal fees. So I don't know what do you expect to happen next year to justify this, because it's like a 30% increase in fees, you expect a lot of legality to come into things next year, I don't
Well, some of the
understand.
legal is for collections as well. So sometimes until we can get those collections paid off, then we're gonna have to pay the cost of collection first, and then we, collect it at some point. So we try and have, enough money in there for that, so that it's not a big hit to the association.
But like that type of an increase though, you would expect some type of economic calamity to justify that type of extrapolation of expense increase of, excuse me, increase of collection costs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, it's,
There's no way to
things
know
haven't
which
changed
one
the
the
last
budget
couple of
is
years
right.
I'm just saying that I don't understand how things have changed in the last couple of years to the point that you see all of a sudden a 30% need to spend on legal.
And you can maybe, put new lawyer, the $250, no lawyer for $400 per hour. Because the lawyer, what the association have now is $400 per hour. So why you're not looking for one attorney, the $225 to $250 per hour?
I keep the contractors here that do a good job and bring results. And we have had a lot of income that was unexpected because of the work of our legal team. And and part of what the number in the, legal for the budget is based upon, historical.
And my question is, what is the reason all the associations, they have a attorney, the $225 to $275? What is the reason you have attorney $400 per hour for collection? $400. You know, he reviewed the lease. He reviewed because she is mad with the owner and $400 per hour. The manager talking with the attorney about the lease, $400 per hour. She is mad because he don't have the fountain. I put the fine to her, $400 per hour. What is the reason you don't use one attorney costs $225, $275, the top, $275. So
I had just answered that question.
because you want to continue with the attorney, the $400.
I want an attorney that is well versed and experienced in this, and he has brought a lot of extra income, and he has been able to collect and, bring this association, a lot of money that I think, a lesser attorney wouldn't have been able to.
But it looks like it don't make any money because you don't put in reserve money, and plus you put 6% increment the association, plus you don't repair the roofing, plus you don't repair the plumber, plus you don't do anything. Because according to your report, this is a catastrophe. You say plumber is damaged, roofing is damaged, everything collapsed. I remember last time you in the job, and you talking about this is timber scan or blossom bar or you know, like maybe South America apartment complex because look
I was there, I don't remember it like that.
and you can review your report, and your report you say it's damaged, it's roofing damage, summer damage, 24 property is condemned already. And your report say that.
Well, I think also, I think what it is, just like the $400 an hour for somebody that deals with something that's collection based. I mean, laws are defined based on collecting fees, and therefore you go about those laws, you send out letters, you do whatever. It's not like you're, defending, Exxon or something like that, where, it just seems so like
His
ridiculous.
cost was always $400. It is that today, but he uses a lot of other people. He doesn't chime in on everything. And that's the attorney that I have had great success with, so I'm going to continue with him. But thank you.
He's
I'm
check
gonna-
bankruptcy.
I'm gonna go ahead and approve the 2019 proposed, underfunded budget with the 6% increase. And I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the budget meeting
Hey, I have a
at
quick question.
7:41.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, you guys might have covered it when I was not here, but, I'm an engineer and not to brag, but I went through a lot to get that degree, but if I ever went to any client and I gave him 2 quotes,
That's coming up next.
That's
That hasn't happened yet.
okay, then let me just cover one thing in the budget before that's done. What's $2,500 for a website? Like $250 up to $2,500 for a website. What's being upgraded on the website? I upgraded 3 websites for 3 companies and
What's the
$700
code?
to do.
What's the code? I'm sorry. It's,
Yeah, it's $2,500 for that
I'm just
one.
looking at a small amount. These things can easily be manipulated. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but
Well, no, you're right on the website, because the website is very fundamental, it's basic, and it also has the wrong picture of the complex, because if you look at the website, somehow the golf course disappeared, because there's no golf course when I look out.
It's misleading.
Well,
Yes,
maybe it's there.
yeah.
No, but yeah, it's a very basic.
and I'm curious. Item 8190 miscellaneous. What is that? 8190.
Was there any answers on the website? Why is being charged this?
Miscellaneous is just that.
the website.
Website.
Yeah, the websites, why is that?
Miscellaneous is miscellaneous.
the website is actually redone. And the one you were talking about is antiquated, was taken down, it's completely shut down. Okay? The website and the app is what is the increases. The website actually has all of our documents and everything, and to be back, to add our different documents that we use and everything like that, was the website that we've got up now, and it's gonna be sent out in a web blast to all the owners, and it's gonna be put on the doors with the quarterly newsletter I usually do for everybody here on site, and then the owner's gonna get their blast with the new email information, with the website and everything on it. But it's gonna have all the documents that are being updated, you know, as of January 1st, that you guys can have all the contracts and everything like that. It's gonna be all uploaded by January 1st. But right now, it's just got some basic documents on that owners request from us frequently. But it's a current picture. All those pictures are added on there. What else should I?
So we already paid,
The app
we
and the
already
app.
paid for this upgrade, right?
Yeah, there was no charge for I got that, no charge for the actual setup of the, website, which was professionally done. And it's just a monthly fee. is
No,
what
but
it
you're
is.
talking about getting a website done, no charge, but then we're paying
I
$2,100.
think I over,
$2,100 for the year, that's very steep for a website maintenance.
yeah, it's a website and an
I
app
like
that is
20
done.
websites, I mean, that's like ridiculous, it's $2,100 for that.
It's a website and the app that, like I said, there's an app as well, that most people know about, that we send out. The app is,
What company is that for?
it's all done through Century. It's all an added, added bonus for.
So you didn't bid, so this wasn't included in the maintenance of, or the cost of Century?
There's multiple people talking, so I can only hear, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I know what you're talking about, when I have a new law for condominiums.
No, I understand that, on the,
website.
you have to put all that on the
It's supposed to
19th,
separate
or
with the management.
2000.
It's supposed to be separate? It doesn't say that.
Well, read that.
Okay. George, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
No.
You were saying something before that?
No, I just, what I didn't understand, so you say Century did the website, I mean, it's just a Century thing.
Well, Century didn't do it.
No, I mean, it's
it's
under
a-
Century, right?
It's a service that we provide,
Okay,
correct?
okay.
Okay.
Move on to the
Any-
next.
Okay, so. Okay.
So what are we doing with this budget?
I'm sorry.
What are we doing with this budget?
I approved it.
Okay.
So, I just got a quick question. Shouldn't there be a vote upon people?
No, there's not a vote for the budget.
No, even if.
Unfortunately.
There would be a vote for the budget.
Because we don't
Actually,
have,
there would be a vote on
the
the
owners
board.
haven't got together of a quorum of people.
The board would, if you had a board of directors instead of a receiver, the board would vote based on the discussions of the owners and everything. They would make changes or whatever based on what everybody says, and then they would vote.
Yes.
But since you have a receivership instead of that,
Yeah, so I mean, it's a waste of time, right?
That's the only thing, I mean, as an owner, it's kind of a waste of time sitting here like expressing our concerns and yet it doesn't matter to me anyway.
It doesn't really matter, it's what the receiver decides.
Well, see, that's the whole thing, that this, when you think about it, okay, 10 years ago, we had a financial crisis, right? And the judge appointed a receiver because nobody was paying, it was totally chaos, right? Okay, well, that's 10 years ago, real estate's back up, things are going crazy or whatever, the whole idea of a place like this being a receivership is ridiculous, that we can't get people together to have a board and save money by doing that. That is the end game as far as the way things should be run. Yeah, they're just doing what they're doing because we haven't got together actually.
But even
Well,
if
we
there
got
was
together,
a
it's the
board,
court that won't allow us to move
the
forward.
members would not vote on the budget. It would be a vote of the board.
Well, yeah, right, I'm saying to create a
The board
board.
could modify
So you have to
the
create a board first, and that's
Right.
what has to be.
And absolutely, the board not have a attorney with $400 per hour.
I'm gonna move on to the next meeting. You saw the time, right? 7:48.
Okay.
You wanna just get started?
Okay, these special meeting was called regarding the retaining wall, and I assume everybody in this room got their information regarding the retaining wall and the information. I know it didn't provide a whole lot, which is why we're having this meeting. And we received, okay.
Oh, go ahead, I was gonna say, take them through from the beginning.
Okay, so I have, did you all get the handout that, we have out here?
Here's the highlight.
The highlights, okay. Okay, so the retaining wall, there's some highlights that we've got here, was reviewed in detail by Universal Engineering and was re-inspected October this year by Mr. Ken Derrick, which is a head engineer of the location here in Orlando. When it was re-inspected earlier this year by Mr. Derrick, he found that the cracking and on the pool deck was worsened and deteriorated. The wall is 238 feet long and 16 feet high at the tallest point. It was determined by Universal Engineering after their original review. Their assessment is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the wall will fail. Proposals were received, yes, there were only 2, but I contacted multiple other contractors last year to bid on this wall. They either didn't want to or they never showed up. I still tried to contact other people. I have one other company that they met today to see if they were interested in even coming out here. And I'm gonna find out hopefully tomorrow if they're even interested in wanting to bid on it. And the cost, I'm sorry, got sidetracked. There are 2 quotes that I received, and the amounts are $344,682. The other quote was $379,870. The quotes include the wall being rebuilt completely, and the pool deck items along the wall all being reconstructed, including a new spa based on the engineering report. These items were noted on here. And that's what that amount concludes. All those items being redone and rebuilt on the pool deck. After the retaining wall is complete, it's budgeted 2019 to update the playground equipment, which we already discussed. Once a vendor has completed the selected job, it will take approximately 6 months depending on the time of year, wet and weather permitting. So if it started in August, obviously it's a rainy time of year, so it would take longer, most likely.
But,
Yes, I'm sorry.
no, don't be sorry. So, we're supposed to have this meeting to discuss that and also, talk about the fact that it's a very, very expensive situation. And I recognize that, which is why I had, gone to the court to see, if they would approve it. And the judge in this case was not ready to do that, but instead, we had some, different, things that we were supposed to do, including having this meeting. Mr. Perot is also trying to, find at least one other bid. We are still, like Kim just said, trying to get other bids. It has been difficult, for the many reasons that she already stated. Because it literally is from back behind the, playground area all the way down to the end, by the, tennis court. So it is a complicated situation, which is why we had an engineer get involved. Because it's beyond most average people's, forte, and then an engineer would be needed. The work that needs to be done, in my opinion, is extensive. And there needs to be, project manager, somebody watching it the entire time. From the engineering report, I can let you know that they're talking about coming in 8 feet, the entire length, which I think is 360 feet.
220, 230, I'm sorry.
Okay. Which, depending on how you wanna look at it, might be a good thing that we never fixed the jacuzzi because it would have had to be damaged and dismantled anyway. So, that being said, the whole picnic area, the part by that is the tennis court, as Kim said, the tennis court is slanting. All of the hand railing and everything out there has, I don't know if it's all, but much of it has, because the wall is slanting and, pulling away, I guess you would say. Even some of the, I'm sorry, it's been a really long day, I can't think of whatever these pieces are, the vertical, for the handrail, some of them have pulled away completely. And so the reason that we cordoned it off was because the engineer basically told us to, that we do not wanna take on any liability if a child or adult or whoever, even if the pool was closed without the fencing up, and something happened because we didn't put that fence in place, I don't wanna take on that responsibility for this association and 360 owners who, you know, have a vested interest here, which is why it has been completely cordoned off and, fencing put up. We did not make these decisions just willy-nilly. I never wanted to close the pool. I think it's a great amenity. I think that I have a responsibility to maintain it, which is why we did get the bids we did, which is why I went to the judge. So right now, we're at a point where, there will be another hearing on the retaining wall. Hopefully, Mr. Burrow and I will both have more information that we can bring to the judge. I don't wanna spend $340,000 that we really don't have, but I really don't know what another answer is, because if that wall does fail, and right now, there's no damage to the pool itself. The pool deck is damaged, there's major cracking there, but the pool itself is intact, which we wanna keep it that way. Because if the pool itself gets damaged, then obviously costs can only go up from there. So, I think it's important that, you know, why I think that we need to spend potentially $300 and some thousand to fix that amenity. It's not just the pool. It's the retaining wall to be redone, which is what we're being told needs to be done. And they're the experts in that. I'm not an expert in a retaining wall that holds up multiple amenities in a, you know, condominium community. And, if the owners don't wanna do it, I mean, I guess that's part of what we should talk about tonight. I don't think anybody wants to spend $300 and some thousand on this, but I don't know necessarily what the other options are, which is why we're continuing to, research it and try and like get other points of view, if you will. My anticipation is that other engineers would find the same result that we have been given. But, you know, it's a possibility, that could be different. What was the last thing? Oh, that if the owners don't want it, it's not just the pool, it is that entire area, plus the picnic area, and at some point, the tennis court. So that's what we're here for. But anyway, do you wanna talk?
I'm gonna cut you off if you're not.
No, I thought I heard you though. Go ahead.
Am I able to get a copy of those codes and I'll shop those codes around? I'll shop around myself and.
Yeah,
Kim
I mean,
Kim can get them.
Get with me, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Honor.
Palmer?
S.
Kim. Get with me after, and, because I've already got people working on it, I don't wanna cross paths, but,
Okay, yeah.
we can
Absolutely.
exchange
But
emails.
if you would like to, you can also get in touch with Kim.
Yeah, but what is that happening in the code is something different, or I'm in different code, because,
Okay, well, let me,
yeah, okay, go ahead.
I mean, if you're through, Pam, I'll go ahead and put my side of it, or what I brought up on it. When this came up on the retaining wall, I actually hired a professional engineer that specializes in piers and docks and retaining walls, et cetera, mostly the seawalls type stuff. He came in and inspected it. If you walk around the tennis courts, you'll see the posts have rotated and the stuff has started to fall down. Okay, those are set in sand. the ones around the tennis court, you would come around to the jacuzzi. Before you get to the jacuzzi, the 4x4 posts are very solid. You actually have, I think they're called umbrella anchors, run through behind, and you're an engineer. What kind of engineer?
Civil engineer.
Great.
Okay. Perfect. So you understand what I'm talking about. So nothing was rotated on the vertical posts. There are a couple of boards that are rotted. The horizontal running boards up towards the top and a couple towards the bottom. But there's no indication of the wall move. On concrete cracking, this is Florida sand, you have movement in that, so you have to correct it. He found no movement of the wall from where it starts at the jacuzzi, where the posts are set down solid. Nothing's rotated, nothing's out of level. He checked the level on every one. He was walking knee deep in water moccasin swamp. And everything was solid. He says the pool section and the jacuzzi section is solid. It needs some repair, especially on the handrails. That looks like garbage. He said, number one, take all that out, but there are some boards that need to be replaced, and I can get you that report.
Okay.
We've also had two other parties come out, both of them specializing in seawalls. Both of them said to replace it is an expensive option if you've got the money, but it's not necessary. And we're working on getting quotes for that.
Okay.
Both of them stated that we can stabilize it.
Can I
as
have
is.
copies of what you get?
When I get it, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
because that's what we've got to present to the
Right.
judge, so
Well, I
that's
just
not
would
a
like to
problem.
see it too, like maybe I can even talk to them in advance.
Well, let me get a quote before we even.
Well, you
get-
said you had one from the
No,
engineer.
I said I don't have a quote yet.
Oh,
We're
okay,
working on
just
the
that you
quotes
talked to
now.
the engineer.
But we've already, well, you have the engineering report that
Well,
I
I know
got.
you, doesn't
But-
understand?
He's
Okay.
got the engineer, he doesn't have the contract.
You have the
Okay.
engineering report, you have a copy of it because you presented it to
Right.
the court as part of your package. I have some other contractors that specialize in seawalls that have been out on the property. They've looked at it, and both of them have said it doesn't need a replacement. We can stabilize it. So they're putting together a plan on stabilization.
But I
So-
thought that you had also said that you talked to an engineer who said that it didn't need to be done. Did you not
Yeah,
just say that?
the document you've got.
Put in the
I
quote.
came out here with him.
You came out
what's
here
his
with
name?
Universal Engineering and
Daniel-
they said not to do it?
Then,
Excuse me?
You said you came out here with Universal Engineering and they
No.
told you?
No, not Universal.
Who
I never
was
said
your
Universal.
engineer?
He came out with his.
A professional engineer.
It's in the
Yeah.
file, it's actually in the court doc.
isn't
You
there?
have the document.
It's a, what was, you said it in your court.
Paperwork that you sent to the court.
Okay,
Daniel Sauter,
okay,
Sauter.
okay,
He's a PE.
okay.
And to be honest, if you could pick any engineering company in Orlando except Universal, you're laughing, you know why. I would have a lot more respect for the company, but when you pick that one, and I can go through all kinds of things with
And Evergreen
construction.
Song, what is that?
Not so much that, but the engineering company,
But the general contractor receive 40% and give the job to the other person.
Well,
What
yeah,
did he do?
yeah, but if we don't have the funds to spend $370,000, and you can stabilize it for a lot less, that should be our prime objective. Unless we've got $1 million in the bank, then that's not the,
Well, yeah, because we have people with leaking plumbing and roofs, that's the big
Okay.
thing.
yeah. But
So when you get the quote, you'll let me know.
when I get those, I'll
Okay.
be more than happy to share them,
Okay.
because we wanna save money. We don't
Yeah.
wanna blow it all out. The second thing it's, I think we need to bring up is when you start talking about the reserves, number one, and I'm only repeating it because some people may not know that here, but in the state of Florida, you have reserve accounts, it's like savings accounts for different things. You're required in the state of Florida for the pool, for the painting, the roofing, and the road work. Okay, anything over $10,000 to replace, you can add that to reserves. But those three you absolutely need. And you cannot pull from those reserves for anything else. It's against state laws. Florida 718 is very
Actually,
specific.
that's not 100% sure.
If you let me finish, there's one exception, there's two exceptions. One exception is you can take a loan from the reserves if you pay it back by the end of the year. So if you have an emergency and you have a bunch of money in reserves, you can take that out, pay for that repair, but you gotta pay it back by the end of the year. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to have, and I forgot the exact percentage, of the unit owners, not the ones that show up in the meeting, but of the unit owners, have to vote to agree to take out those reserves to use for building a new pool or, whatever. So that's, unless you know of another exception, that's only 2 exceptions I know about. But the thing that concerns me that, right now we have a low reserve, right? We don't have a lot of money in reserves to cover. And you've already got, the amount that you're saying, 22,000 a month that you're having to put towards reserves now, right? Okay, and the way you calculate how much you put towards reserves is based on the cost to replace it, right? The number of years it's got good life yet left, as part of the calculation. And then you subtract out what you have in reserves already, right? If we take this money out to replace the retaining wall, the 370,000, what's gonna happen to the association dues next year when you have to double up on the reserves?
That's a concern.
This is the concern when you want to pay 379, while the other person say 150. And at one point, because she say, I go to the court and she go to the court and the judge deny. The judge say, no, you can't do the bid because she go with 1 bid only. So the judge say, no, you need to come back and put a committee where I have 3 or 4 owners put together and working with the other company. Because I'm president of homeowner association. So for the 2010, so I know Herman and Son. So the manager brings this guy, and 1 bathroom is supposed to make for 800, and he won $8,000. So you can see. So she brings this person, and the judge say, no, deny. So now the judge say, bring all the owners together, and the owners need to take the decision. That's the reason she made the meeting. If not, she take the decision, bring to the court, and nobody say nothing. The judge
Exactly.
So the owners need to take the decision to put everything in the committee, for the committee to take the decision in looking at what person or what company, made the wall or made the whatever and repair. And less for 150,000, I think. I don't know the pricing, but can explain that.
Yeah, I don't have the pricing yet. It's significant difference, but I haven't seen the pricing yet.
Right, and
Because
until
they
we
have
see
to
the
go
pricing and get some other information, that's what she's looking for, because we did bring 2 quotes, and it was,
And they go to
Well,
one.
no, we brought 2.
Actually, it was 1 quote, because the second quote,
That's why she.
the
threw it
second,
out.
yeah, the second quote,
They weren't comparable.
They weren't
Because,
comparable.
Yeah,
because
the
the
second was
second
an
quote
ad.
you got only covered 1 piece. So you pulled the numbers out of the first quote and threw them into the.
To look
spreadsheet
like
on
was
the
2
other.
quotes, but in fact was 1.
And,
And this
yeah,
is
so
the,
that,
this is the judge said, I don't feel
if you're a,
comfortable,
yeah, but if
take the
you're
decision.
a project manager, you don't accept that. You have to go back and say, no, it has to be comparable.
Well, I wanted her to know what we had gotten, that's all we had been able to collect.
Yeah, I know that's not your profession, but that is my profession, and that would have been thrown out, that the manager would have kicked out that second quote completely and said, I'm not even talking to you unless you bid these items, so it's apples to apples. So, but, yeah,
I got a question. You said, so Universal came out how many times?
They've been out multiple times.
Multiple.
Well, I mean, as far as, right, they came out, you said that they came out initially and then they came out again, right?
They've been out multiple times.
Yeah.
But the first time they came out, they saw a problem, right? I'm assuming, right? No, but I mean, so they basically said that it was failing, right? At that time.
Right.
So that
Well,
means,
we asked them to create a report because we were concerned about the different things that we had noticed. We had noticed with the Boeing with the
Right.
wall, and then we contracted with them to provide an engineering report, and
Okay.
that was done. Then they have been out at different times, either to meet with us,
Right,
or,
right.
and
Okay.
they just did it again in October.
No, okay. So basically, when they came out with the report, they stated that it was, the failure of that wall, failure was imminent, right? That that wall could collapse.
I can't remember the exact date they said that.
No, I'm just saying when they did your
Well,
engineering report.
well, to complete let's be clear, to complete, as a civil engineer, you can probably say this too. To complete a report, extensive report like we received, it's not just one time, one person coming out here for whatever length of time and saying it's fine, okay? They sent a person, they did soil samples, they did, multiple people came out here and looked at different departments came together, they did soil samples, they did all those things to come up with that report and to do the plans for the retaining wall.
Yeah,
So it's not one person coming out.
No, you're
Okay,
right,
so,
no.
yeah, so they came up for that first
Right, I
initial
saw the report,
yeah.
and
then,
yeah, I saw the
so-
report, and it
yeah.
shows all the things that
Right.
they did and all. The only question I have is, the report was dated May 2017, yet if this thing was gonna fail and there would be a liability or problem,
Raining a lot.
why was it shut down in February of 2018?
Because I don't
That's
think at
9
that
months
time it
later.
was as imminent, but when they came out that last time, when we put up the fencing, it's because they said it was imminent. And that it was a liability, and I didn't wanna have an issue with the pool and somebody getting.
Yeah, but was that documented? Because in the other documents, the court, it said that it should be replaced and all these other things you're saying, but you don't have that documented? They said it was imminent, that it was actually worse, that you have to take this off now? Because otherwise, we're sitting around for 9 months, using the pool, and it seemed to be okay even after the report was given to
Well,
you.
we haven't let anybody out there.
No, I'm talking about from April 2017 till February, where it was shut down for 2018.
We actually talked about it at last budget meeting. We actually talked about it at the annual meeting last year too, about the retaining wall. You guys, we sat right here and talked about it.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, I mean,
because even then, they said it should be replaced, so therefore, if it had to be replaced, then, and they said failure's imminent, because I'm looking at the report right here, it's filed with the court, then shouldn't have things been shut down if it was so bad? Why wasn't it shut down this whole area in 2017?
Well, they said, like I said in the highlights, they said in the initial report, it's now a matter of when, it's a
Right.
matter of,
So we
not
don't
a
have
matter
a
of
full-
if, it's a matter of when.
So we don't have a follow-up
But-
or report, like any documentation, them saying that in February, that this thing's worse, that it's gonna fail, do we?
They did put something together, I'm not sure what month it was, sometime this
Can you
year.
send us a copy of that?
Sure, sure.
So anyway, so that's the situation. The situation is, that there will be another court hearing. Hopefully Kent will get, a quote or two. Hopefully Kim will get another one. If you wanna take a look at what we have.
When is that court hearing?
February.
Expected February,
Yes,
As
we
of
have a
right
little bit of
now,
time.
it's February 11th.
Yeah, we'll send you the information.
If this says the receiver will meet with the owners to discuss the project and take a vote, we're not taking a vote, are we?
We're gonna take because it's basically what the proxy said. We're just gonna take a straw vote.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read what the proxy says, so we can kind of just follow that. Basically, the people who, if you're two people and you only have one unit, only one of you should vote, that type of thing. If you have more than one unit, you wanna vote for both units, or two, or three, or whatever you have, that's fine too. So, you can cast your vote for yes to approve an expenditure from the association's reserve to make repairs to the pool deck or wall. Now, with that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying, yes, we should spend $350,000. What it means is that you're willing, or that you approve an expenditure whenever that's decided, when we get these other bids, that we would take reserve funds and pay for the wall. Or the other answer is no, you don't wanna make repairs to the retaining wall. So those are your two options. It's not a dollar figure, it's the, kind of what Kent had even talked about earlier, that if you're going to have, a use of this association reserve funds that weren't necessarily earmarked for it and that you don't necessarily have, specifically set aside for it, that you would say yes to expenditure at some point when that final decision is made on which way to go, that you're okay with, making the expenditure from the reserve account. Or the other option is, no, I forego the repairs. So that's what we're gonna vote on.
Okay, so what you're voting on, to be clear, is you're voting for the owners here to basically give you a blank check, depending on whatever you and the court, whatever the court decides, a blank check on whatever it's gonna take to fix that.
I wouldn't say it's a
Because-
blank check, because there's already parameters written into the order that we discussed that I think was like $370,000.
I'm not doing this.
Which is the whole reserve.
Okay, which is all of the reserves.
Right.
And if and everybody has to realize that if you use the reserves to fix that,
I'm not doing
your
this.
roofing reserves go to zero, your water, plumbing reserves go to zero, your paving reserves go to zero. What else, fire system, if you have like 50,000 or something in, goes to zero, so everything gets reset when she does the calculation for the association dues the next year. So don't be surprised if your $400 a month assessment goes to $600 a month.
That's not necessarily the case, but a
It
special
is.
assessment could happen.
The amount may not be the case, but it'll either be a special assessment coming,
Or an
or your
increase.
association dues get,
Right.
go way up because you've taken your savings account that you're required by the statute to have, you're taking away from it. You're not borrowing it, you're taking it away. So you're starting at
Using it
zero.
for, right, to reopen that improvement.
But you'll have a jacuzzi and a really nice pool, okay? So, I mean, you might have water coming on your head when you go to sleep, but it's okay. Sorry, Ken.
It's really not.
I'm
funny,
done,
but,
I'm
I mean,
done.
I'm not hiding that in any way. You know, you guys understand that we don't have enough money. That's part of why we're having
You know
this
how
whole
much
lot.
you pay $400 for the lawyer?
So I'm gonna go ahead and do the vote, since we have now cleared it up. So, those,
I vote no.
excuse me, I'm gonna read it and then we're gonna, okay. So I'm gonna say, the people who would like to vote yes to have an expenditure from the association's reserves to make the pool repairs, please raise your hand. Okay. And so the people who would say no, you wanna forego any repairs to the retaining wall, raise your hand.
No, that's not what I said.
At this time.
And this time, Ken, listen,
Oh.
and this time.
That is
Because
exactly.
later you can go to the court and provide.
Okay, wait, I thought this was to use the reserve funds.
No, no.
No, it's to whether or not to do the
Yeah.
But I'm gonna vote no for right
No,
now.
no for now.
It doesn't say it this time.
And this one, no.
Okay, so how many, you say no?
No.
1,
No.
2,
No.
Keep your hands up, please.
No.
4,
Not the way
5,
this is written.
6,
This is poorly written.
7, 8, 9, 10. All, so 10.
Lady, keep going from
This is
the
poorly
top.
written, that's why everybody.
Yeah, no, this
Well, I
can't,
will tell you that we do have proxies that voted yes.
this legally, I don't know how this gets in, because it's basically, it should be no to
Okay, but
using
it was,
expenditures to fix the wall. Or using the
this
reserves.
was always going to be a straw vote. This is not,
Yeah, I
this is
know.
to get a feeling of what the people
Yeah.
wanted. The people here said no, we do have proxies that all said yes. We will
How
give
many?
that
Should have done like
information.
three.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they probably also don't understand that
I
pulling from the
think so,
reserves.
because some of them did call us and we did talk to them.
Okay.
So, I will let you know that we are having this meeting's over. I'm letting you know that we will have the annual meeting on December 18th. You will be getting a notice on that. If there's any new developments with the retaining wall, we'll bring them up at that time.
They have a board election now?
No, we don't have the board election, just the annual meeting.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
how many years?
This is special meeting, this is a special meeting.
This was just a special meeting.
10 years more for receiver?
I'm sorry.
10 years more, you wanna say?
The judge is the one who denied.
No,
the-
the judge, no, you go to the court all the time.
Thank
No,
you for coming.
You go
I
to the
appreciate
court all
it.
the time and you say to the judge, oh,
That's not-
this is
that's
dumb,
not
and this is
accurate,
this,
but thank
this
you.
is that. And later you come into the meeting and say, no, the judge wanna keep me. That's bullshit, because you pay $400 to
Oh,
go
very good, thank you.
fight with the owner for staying in this situation.